Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for Steve Arts 89, Star Trek's alleged gatekeeper. Okay, so we got some more news from San Diego Comic Con, this time from the Strange New Worlds panel. Basically, they were crashed by Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid, who apparently are going to be appearing in Strange New Worlds. They're doing a crossover between Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. They're going to be appearing as themselves, I'm guessing. So that's very strange because I'm not sure how they're going to do that. They surely can't be doing it with the whole cast because not all the cast really resembles their characters as closely as those two. But I guess that's close enough. And I guess we're all sort of used to seeing the characters, the actors, so we sort of think of them as those characters even though, they're animated. So I can kind of see them pulling it off. And I did think it was funny that the actors looked so much like the characters except for one or two of them. So maybe they were planning that the whole time, I don't know. But it's going to be a bit awkward though, because one of the things I liked about Lower Decks, I didn't like it at first because I felt like they were establishing lower classes in Star Trek, and the idea that the Lower Deck character people were treated lesser than other crewmen and so forth, and the idea that so many basically there's a lot of F-ups in Starfleet really kind of bothered me, the idea of portraying the whole of Starfleet like that. But then in Season 2 they kind of established that it was just the Cerritos that was like that, and it was that captain and her sort of example, and the rest of Starfleet, they were sort of the exception, which sort of I could kind of accept a bit easier. So I sort of enjoyed the second season a bit more because of that. But one of the things I liked about Lower Decks was they did seem to respect canon, visual canon. A lot of the jokes, they had a lot of member berries everywhere, but at least things looked like they were supposed to. It looked like a Starfleet ship, it looked like Starfleet lighting, it looked like Starfleet ships and everything, and it kind of felt like it was canon. So I don't know how they're going to fit that into Strange New Worlds, which is a reboot show, which doesn't really stick that close to the canon. If you look at all the sets and everything, nothing in that looks exactly like the original series, whereas when Lower Decks did original series sort of jokes and that, they looked canon. So it's going to be a step backwards in a way for Lower Decks to be non-canon, to be in Strange New Worlds. And also there is the century or so difference. I'm like, are they going to go back in time? Is the characters from Strange New Worlds going to go into the future? And yes, I would have thought it would have worked. Well, it would have had the same problems with Discovery, because Discovery is even more out of canon and doesn't look like the universe that Lower Decks is in. So yeah, so I find that strange, and I'm wondering how they're going to handle some of the other characters. Like Rutherford, he doesn't look exactly like his character, the actor, and of course Jerry O'Connell isn't he's a handsome man, but he's not as buff as the first officer. So I'm guessing they're only going to show a couple of the characters, the ones they can get away with, who actually look like their characters enough they can get away with it. So yeah, so they crashed the panel and they got bounced by Uhura, and yeah, that's it. So it's interesting. We had crossovers with the original series and Next Gen in the first year. We had that first appearance by DeForest Kelley, and then later on we had some other characters. So it's not a first in that sense. Deep Space Nine had Picard showing up in the first episode. Voyager went to Deep Space Nine. There was a joke in the Season 3 trailer of Lower Decks. I had to... The gatekeeper in me had to stop myself laughing at the fact that when they were at Deep Space Nine, they needed to buy some time for the captain. They said, just go around the space station, look like we're enamored with the pylons, and then they just had the the Star Trek Deep Space Nine theme playing as they was going around a circle. That was funny, but yeah, that was it. The rest of it was just like, okay, just crazy. But yeah, so interesting. I thought they were going to do a Discovery Strange New Worlds crossover somehow. I'm more surprised, but it's kind of nice to have the animated characters brought into the real world. It does make them more real, and then they're less easy to dismiss on some level, like a lot of people try to do with the original animated series, because it's not live action. Like, it's still canon, it was on TV, Paramount said it was canon when they were selling the videos and putting it in syndication. So, you know, it does interesting things. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to deal with the canon issues. But then again, they don't care about them. But the creators of Lower Decks seemed to. So I find that all very interesting. But, yep, I'm going to go. Thanks. Bye. I should talk about the trailer. I actually finally got to watch it. It was geo-blocked for ages, and then I saw it, and then it came up on YouTube like 2 minutes after. So, yeah, it's basically just a whole bunch of little jokes, just running around fighting random aliens. No real story. I mean, we know that they basically steal the ship to try and help the captain, Carol Freeman. And I guess I'm guessing that's the main story of the season. It doesn't look like it's going to be sorted out in one episode and then they're going to go on with the rest of the season like normal. But it could be done that way. It's hard to tell. And the other thing really was just the Deep Space Nine joke, which I did think was funny. It was the end of the trailer. So they get to that point and then they're like, we need to buy time for the captain. And then it's like just going around Deep Space Nine, go around Deep Space Nine. And then they just tell them just to do it again. Just keep going around. So that's just, you know, making fun of the original opening credits, which I always kind of loved. I don't know why they felt the need to speed them up and improve them by adding an extra sort of track to the soundtrack and just trying to make it seem faster. I mean, it had integrity, artistic integrity as an opening. They should have just stayed with that. So then making fun of that was okay, because it was something people made fun of back in the day because it was slow, and that was sort of a very sort of disturbing indication of the pace of the show when it first started. You thought, oh, is this going to be slow and, you know, boring? And a lot of people thought the space station setting was boring until they got the Millennium Defiant, the Defiant. And then they started zipping around everywhere, just like the other Star Trek shows, which had spaceships. They kind of gave up on their own concept at first. So, yeah, I don't know, what else was in the trailer? There wasn't a lot. I was a bit disappointed because it just was just a bunch of little, not even any member berries. Just, like, there's nothing about it I can remember aside from the Deep Space Nine ending and the shot of them taking the Cerritos out, and I was expecting for them to have the Star Trek 3 theme music or something like that to you know, link that to that, because I was thinking, it's so not Starfleet, they'd never steal a ship, they'd never go rogue. And then I sort of thought, yeah, they did that in Star Trek 3. I'm like, well, they didn't have much of a choice. I'm like, well, do they have a choice? I don't know, but I was expecting the theme song, but yep. That's it. So that's my review of the trailer. Not that memorable except for that Deep Space Nine joke. And I'm not sure how they're going to manage the canon issues. And if they try and do the whole cast, I'm not sure how they're going to manage the differences between the actors and the characters in a couple of instances.